Hello guys, so it's afternoon here and let's discuss Module 12, Hospital Materials Management. So class, our hospital is very labor-centric service. Ibig sabihin, it depends on the skills of the human resources, on the skills of the doctors, the skills of the nurses, so that they could give the services. We require the skills of the receptionist, the skills of the medtechs, the pharmacists, and the like. So that this doctors, pharmacists could accomplish what they're doing. Of course, they need tools, diba? They need equipment for 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 them to give up their best. So your medtechs, they need their syringes, their microscope, your doctors. So if someone is hurt, they need bandages for their patients. So we need our x-ray machines. Kita nyo dito, each one of them are so that they could accomplish their tasks, they require equipment. Class, each of this department requires tools and materials so that the service will be efficiently delivered to the patients. So class, ang pag-aaralan natin today are how does hospital hopefully manages their inventory, manages the materials that they are using so that the hospital will smoothly accomplish its goals. So, kita nyo naman dito. So, this guy needs gloves or mask. Yan. Notice that I think this is a storage place for your operating theater or surgery room wherein they need so much tools. So in your emergency department, in your different wards, you need sa office of the doctors, examining table, gurney, cane crutch, wheelchairs, dropping bottles, urine samples, scales, blood monitors, sphygmomanometer, ambulance. There's so much medical supplies class that we need, especially now we are in ordinary times wherein we are in the middle of a pandemic wherein they should wear overall PPEs. So ang raming materials class sa hospital. And look at this, they're so organized. So they should organize it well. So hospital material management is very important. So it involves the management and from the planning, purchasing, store, inventory, control, care and preservation, issue of materials and accounting, and disposal of scrap. So from the purchasing to the disposal class, so that's under your material management. So the successful and efficient functioning of a department depends on the supplies of the materials. So class, imagine, how could you have an online class? So many cannot be online because they do not have the prerequisites to be online. They do not have internet. They do not have gadgets, diba? So same thing with the hospitals. How could you deliver health services if you have incomplete supply? So materials are very important. So it should be managed and stored well. What else? The primary responsibilities of the organization in an efficient, effective, and economical manner. So dapat daw, this HMM is very important so that to make the flow of the laboratory activities more efficient, more effective, and actually economical. Meaning, hospitals should earn a profit, class. Because if there are excess wastage of inventory, masyadong maraming nag-expire na gamot, or there are unused materials and it should be thrown away, those are lost of revenue. And letter D, an effective hospital materials management information system automates the material distribution and control process. So class, the system alarms when the stock is too low or there are excess stocks or there are lacking of stocks. Ganun, class. So I don't know if you are hearing it in the news, but you know, ang raming nasasayang na NFA rice, maraming nasasayang na vaccines because they were improperly stored, or a flood happened, or they did not expect that it was, or did not monitor well the expiration dates. So, ganun. So, those are the responsibilities of a material manager. Yeah. So, what we're going to tackle today is how do hospitals manages their different inventories. So, the goals of hospital materials management, so to have material on hand when needed. Yan. So if a doctor needs a sphygmomanometer or a oximeter on the dot, then dapat meron, diba? To pay the lowest possible prices, consistent with quality and value requirements for purchase materials. As much as possible, it's not too expensive, it's affordable, but of quality pa rin, mini-maintain yung quality. Yan. So class, example, in the laboratory, I encountered cheap syringes. This cheap syringes do not have sharp needles. Actually, they have blunt needles. Hindi matalim yung mga needles nila. And actually, some needles are crooked. Yan. So, that's not of quality. Or sometimes, what I encountered are evacuated tubes. So, evacuated tubes are the tubes wherein we place blood. In this evacuated tubes class, inside it is a vacuum. So that once I inserted the needle and inserted the tube class, so the blood will enter the tube because it has negative pressure inside it. Papasok yung blood. So sometimes, cheap evacuated tubes class do not have enough negative pressure inside the tube. So hence, the blood is not coming inside the tube. So, those are cheap tubes. Nag-syringe na lang sana ako. So, to minimize inventory investment. So, class, one of the biggest expense in the hospital is paying for human resource, paying for the doctors, paying for the nurses, and such. But another big expense in the hospital is paying for the inventory. Yan. So, the things that are needed in the hospital. So, as much as possible, the hospital do not want to put so much equity on inventory. Dapat hindi masyadong maraming pera ang nakakabit sa inventory and to operate efficiently. So, actually, every time I read different resources, this is one of the goals of materials management. Right quality at the right price for the right source at the right time at the right place in the most economical manner. Grabe, this parang yung naisip ko dito, this very business-minded like. Yeah. So basically, we are now in the business or administrative portion of the hospital. So the uses of HMMS, so to optimize the use of resources. So class, these resources cost money. So as much as possible, we should maximize them. Kung pwedeng, kunyari parang toothpaste, until the last drop, we will use it to purchase the right materials at the right time, at the right quantity, yan, hindi sobra, at the right rate, nadagdagan of the course to right sources, to keep the stock at all times, to keep stock at all times, especially class when there's an emergency. What if there is a mass accident? Yan, so you need you need more blood supply, blood units, yun. Talagyan pa lang ng blood units. Yes, yun, to keep stock at all times. So dapat meron ka ring stocks. Avoid understock or stock out. Proper storage to avoid loss, obsolescence, difference. Yan. Kindly Google, what does obsolescence mean? Obsolescence means proper and prompt issue to departments. So once the department needs it, it's ready to be released to cut costs and achieve profitability and economy. So at the end of the day, so aside from the hospitals, want to help other people as much as possible. They want to be profitable para may papasweldo sila class, diba? So our topics for today will span from purchasing, to storage, to issue methods, how to control inventory, cost control, and policies, procedures. This is actually a very short discussion. So for the purchasing, so kailangan, diba? We need to purchase, we need to buy the materials that are needed. But here are the factors that we need to consider. Vendor selection. Yan, vendor selection. Especially in the government class. They do bidding. They do bidding. So the company which provides the lowest price but of quality and the most responsive bidder, yan, they could be the chosen vendor for that government hospital. Yan, vendor selection. So you will choose from so much different companies kung saan ka magpa-purchase, guys. Finalization of terms of purchase. Of course, before finding a vendor, you should know what you should be buying. Placement of purchase order and follow-up. So you need to track your purchases, how much it is, when is it coming. Maintenance of smooth relation with suppliers. Yan. So, class, you know, actually, suppliers are very generous. Yan. At saka ang maraming pera, class, ng mga suppliers. So, if you have a good relationship with them, they can give you discounts, they can give you freebies. Approval of payments of suppliers, and evaluating and rating of suppliers. So, class, not all suppliers are equally made. So, you have to find the best suppliers. Para tong mga manliligaw, class, you have to find the best. Yan. So, for storage, so where we place our materials, they call it stores. Yan. So, the general term is stores. In the hospital, usually the place where we get all the materials, it is at the CSR or Central Supply Room or Central Supply Office. Yan. So this is where they keep custody of all the materials. So there could be one main CSR, but it's better that it should be near a department. So there should be a CSR or a store for the OR, store for the laboratory, so that it's close to us, store at the pharmacy. And should have sufficient space for accommodating all kinds of materials. And class, note that the different types of materials have different types of requirements. And next, class, for storage, so to maintain our storage, so ito yung mga actions natin. So no material should be stuck on the floor. Yan, because it may be contaminated with dew. There could be natural calamities with moisture, with white ants. Material should be stuck in the appropriate place according to the nature of the material. So if it needs to be in a cold temperature, there should be a cold area. If it needs to be if there's a humidity requirement, kailangan may humidifier. Yan. Daily and periodical cleaning should be carried out. Daily and periodical verification of stocks. There should be someone who is looking at the stocks, if it's at the manually looking at the stocks, yan, to make sure that the levels are correct. What else? Proper method of handling. Yan. Some stocks some stocks can be very delicate, just like your drugs in bottles. Preservation materials should be applied to protect the items. Yan. Hindi ko alam ano bibigyan kong example. Preservation materials, or some should be kept in a tighter box. Next, hazardous materials should be segregated. In laboratory safety management class, I discussed that there should be places for flammable materials, places for strong acids, for strong bases, for oxidizing materials. Yan. Safety precautions should be taken. Effect and safety appliances should be provided. So issue method. So how do we release our stocks? So we have FIFO, first in, first out. Actually, this one that we use in the laboratory. So the first stocks that were that entered our inventory in the laboratory should be the first ones to be used. Yan. Sometimes we could also use this first expired, first out, FIFO. Yan. Pero class, usually in the lab, it's FIFO. Because usually, those who went first usually are the ones which will expire first. So, yan, some uses FIFO. Products are sold according to their expiration date. Yan. Perhaps you can use this in the pharmacy. Yan. And we have LIFO, last in, first out. So those who came last in the inventory should be given out. Example here, I think, are oil. Yan. Because those which were last in the inventory are usually the ones which are which are more expensive. Yan. Yan. Oil. And perhaps you can search more. Ano ba yung mga types of inventories na LIFO ang ginagamit? What else, class? So, inventory control. How do we manage our inventory? So, ensuring shipment accuracy, making sure that what you have ordered is correct, aligning sales projection. So, class, the one who's working in the stocks or CSR department should be reading the trends, the sales projection, so that they will not buy any excess stocks or any materials which they would not buy in excess, or they would not buy in very small amount. Yan. So based on the patterns from last year or from last month, so you should identify the patterns and yun yung mga bibilihin mo this time. So if you are since last month you have encountered about 100 patients a day, yan. So you should be equipped to be handling 100 patients a day the next month. What else? So we should control our inventory because according to the standards set by DOH or HFSRB. So HFSRB means Health Facility Services Regulatory Bureau. So they are the one who are accrediting laboratories. Yan. And FDA, Food and Drug Authority. So not all, I like the lighting, not all drugs or not all reagents are allowed by the FDA. So only purchase which are approved by the FDA, and establishing buying cycles. Yan. So same thing, following the patterns, the trends that were happening. Yan. So that to eliminate shortages and overages. So finally, class, we have cost control, strategies, and policies and procedures. So class, make the cost lowest and the efficiency highest. So as much as possible, they should be very careful with the inventory so as not to surge up the prices. Yan. So dapat sapat lang. And finally, policies and procedures. So in handling our materials in the hospitals, they should be following standard operating procedures set by a policy manual. Yeah. So class, that's it for today. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.